All right. How are we? Welcome. Landed safely on the stream. What are we talking about tonight? Beyond nutrition, how to hack your mind so that you can reprogram it and eat for joy. Yay. Hope everyone's well. Having a day that you deserve, having an evening that you deserve. Everything is hidden in plain sight. Everything is in plain sight. You just have to have the eyes and the ears. It's kindergarten stuff. Everything is out there. Everything you seek. Phonetics is the key if you want to know the secrets to hearing the secret codes. Phonetics is the key. And symbolism is for the eyes. Anyhow, so how to go to some things that I've written down. As always on this stream, take what you want, discard the rest. You guys know how we do it here. And if you do decide to judge this reality, I am your mirror, I am you, you are me. So if you decide to judge, do so, and you will be disgusted by your own filth. So, about nutrition, medicines, injections. Specific problems in terms of health and nutrition. Again, it seems the world, teaches us in school the upside down version of reality. And that's perfectly fine if you want to buy into that story. I'm talking from a place of 0 point where there's no judgment. However, this stream is for the people who want to see, see past the upside down version. The ego has forms. So if you want to know your immortal, eternal self, you're going to have to, let go of the world of form for a bit to figure it all out. It's nothing, enlightenment isn't an incredible, experience. It is what it is, and you carry on after infinitely. But if you want to figure out the master key to the universe to decode your full reality, you're going to have to let go of the world of form. You're going to have to let go of your body identification to get there. And so, in this world, and if you've been following for a while, you'd know that objects don't really exist. We can't find eternal peace and happiness and immortality in an object. So this goes the same for nutrition as well. Very interesting. Nutrition, medications, injections. A lot of people might relate to this in the world that we're seeing right now in terms of medical devices and injections. I've already stated to the nurses here that, this whole thing has been cured. I help a lot of people heal their own disease with their mind. And, this whole thing that's going on in the world is no exception. So no need to panic, but you can if you want to. You can be sick if you want to. You can be fearful if you want to. No judgment either. It seems some people just not going to figure it out this time around. And if you want to get off this joyride, if you want to get off the train and face all your fears and exit the matrix, then this is the way to do it. To go within and consciously contemplate, like we do here on Creating Miracle Minds, and make the subconscious conscious. And so, just by speaking these words, it goes into the subconscious, and it'll work there. So, in terms of form, different forms, the ego, the separate self, the self that thinks it's actually in this world, has made up many forms, and it's okay when you come back. I mean, for the sake of knowing who you are, you have to let go of form. Call this a pen, and this is a ring, and this is a body. In most cases, this is associated like, oh, I am in this thing, and my flesh separates me from all the other forms in the world. Or sometimes people go a step further and they say, well, I'm a spiritual being or some sort of galactic being, or, I have a soul, but that lives in a body. That's not going to get you there. So, forms. The ego creates forms as tools to create many varied appearances, which creates the illusion that one thing is not like another. Medicine, injections, nutrition does not seem to be the same thing as a dog attacking you, and does not seem to be the same thing as, eating food. Does not seem to be the same thing as drinking coffee. Does not seem to be the same thing as answering the phone. That's something different here. Okay, so there's different forms in this world, and they all seem very different. So the ego is very clever at this, and has actually invented this entire world of separate objects and things and situations. Good nutrition, bad habits. So this entire world is invented as a way to really strongly emphasize the way that everything is not the same. And I've made a video before on variety is not the spice of life. If you want to know who you are. So this fundamental illusion that everything is not the same is designed to obscure that which is all the same everywhere, which is really where your peace lies. This is 0 point. This is how you know who you are. This is how you are undisturbed by anything that's happening inside reality. This is how you transcend, emotions so that you can consciously respond to situations. And this is also how you transcend traditional ways of seeing nutrition. And if you'd like, if you have any questions, we're going to just fire away. So the appearance of separate, unrelated things and compartmental problems is just another way that the ego puts things into little isolated boxes, separate from the rest, in an effort to protect each separate thing from being undone. Because if you undo everything and you understand who you are, then there's no ego, there's no judgment, there's only awareness, being aware of itself. So to tackle one unique problem or the form of a problem and to solve that problem seems to be actually achievable, but only so long as it ensures that the other problems are kept. So the illusion of separation, which results in this one problem or one thing seeming to be unique and unlike the rest, is the same illusion which keeps the solution away from solving other problems. So here at Creating Miracles, we solve all the problems. Like, in actuality, it's quite funny. Problem here is actually solved before you even think of it. Like, the world is already saved. And once you return to knowing who you are, you experience like there's nothing to fix. So you do things for joy. Um, yeah. You don't need to fix your nutrition. Sorry for all the nutritionists out there. I'm not saying anything right or wrong. Anything. I mean, there's people who live in that reality and they want to take care of their nutrition. And I'm not saying don't eat healthy and live on McDonald's or go drink a cup of arsenic and really run with this. That won't be very intelligent. What I'm saying is there is a state of mind in which you can purely consume for joy, and where nutrition in terms of measuring things and looking at minerals, this is what I need, and oh, I have this disease, so I have to take this. There is a place for that, and you can live there if you want to. It seems like all you need to do is what seems to be the most challenging, difficult thing here. Very brave and courageous people who do this is destroy ignorance. In a way, we could say that we just destroy ignorance. I know it seems harsh, but it's really coming from a place of unconditional love. You could say, transcend the body or exit the matrix. This is how you reach that state. So the lack of transfer value, when the answer to the problem seems to take on form of its own, to be very specific or to address only this one issue. Here we address all issues by coming back to our true nature. That's when all your problems are solved. The more exactly matched the solution seems to be to the problem, or the more specific and accurate the solution seems to be, the more useless it becomes in addressing any problems. So why not just fix all your problems by returning to who you are, rather than do, again, nothing right or wrong, but most still seem to be looking at outside world and wanting to pinpoint different solutions um, in the world. Nothing wrong with that. A perfectly custom built tool for very cleverly changing the rotation of objects in without affecting the rest may well seem to do its job very effectively, but by doing so isolates the scope of what it can solve, and it is completely useless as a tool to do much else. So the ego has no such thing as one tool to solve all problems, and that's deliberate. So what then happens is we have all these illusions which seem to be separate, all these separate problems in the world, based on the form of the objects or the form of the body or the form of a sickness or whatever. These forms narrow down what the problem seems to be, actually as a form of denial, trying to shut out or filter out everything that doesn't seem to be this problem, to focus on the problem in the name of trying to solve problems. But this actually keeps all the other problems safe from correction. So, really, in this lesson about nutrition, all your problems will be solved if you know. If you know what I'm saying, and we're all working together and consciously contemplating and how to experience this. So let's take, for example, medication, injections, drugs, food, nutrition, water, many other varied forms of what we call here magic are all essentially the same problem taking place for the same purpose, but just in a different form. So to dispel some of the illusions surrounding treatments, which to undo them and move towards forgiveness, will require going outside of the bounds of the scope of the problem, because you've isolated problems into a little box, and here's all my boxes. Now I've got this problem here and this problem here. So my health, my relationships, my finances, my children, all these different separate little boxes. And to really fix everything all at once, which is what we do here, we go outside the box. And we look at it from an absolute perspective. We return to absolute, and we view then these problems as they really are. So you go outside of the bounds of the scope of the problem and looking at the bigger picture. In other words, where does medication fit into the picture? What's the problem behind it? And why does it even seem needed in the first place? It's really out of the box stuff, so yeah. This also works in combination with medication. So I'm not saying if you're on medication right now, stop what you're doing. And there's a time and a place. There's a lot of people who still take but if you're very brave and courageous and believe in miracles, then yeah, you have the power. You have the power. It's all. Here we say medications is a form of magic. And again, said with the greatest amount of love. A doctor or a scientist, because they believe the other version of reality, they'd say it's possible. But it's not really. You just need to upgrade your intelligence, or we could say expand your consciousness, or some people buy into this belief of ascension or whatever. Nothing right or wrong, but yeah, you can totally cure your own disease with your mind. It's not a big deal. Uh, it's a bit like that movie Lucy. I referenced to a friend earlier this week. We were joking about the things that I talk about and that I share. And, he was like, "Oh, sounds like you're starting some sort of cult." And I was like, "No, not really. I've already made a video on that. Um, how to know if you're stuck in a spiritual cult." That's quite a funny one. If you wanna, um, if you wanna watch that, it's there somewhere. But no, this is just pure joy sharing. You can take it if you want to. It's helped many people all around the world. Um, so, anything that you do on the level of form in this body, in this world, with separate objects, separate people, anything you do in this world of separation, of on the level of form, which attempts to bring about an outcome in this world, some kind of change in form at that level by directly manipulating the form itself, is magic. Magic is also the belief that something on a lower level has power over something on a higher level, i.e., that the body or worldly objects have some kind of power, will, or mind which is capable of causing something to happen, and therefore is able to cause the mind and produce. That's the world's upside down thinking. We can use what's that thing that comes around in springtime? Hay fever. Hay fever is an example of some kind of thing in this world. And then is able to have the power over your mind and produce effects within your body, like hay fever. People think that, okay, it's springtime now, and because of the outside world and the seasons and the pollen and because of this thing in the outside world, I am now, it just goes right through the power of my mind, and now I'm actually experiencing what seems to be hay fever symptoms. If you, come with me on the journey, I've created a 365-day course to actually reprogram your mind. You can see outside reality and the things going on there still, but reprogramming and accessing the power of your mind. And you then have the power, and I am empowered, for it to no longer cause physical sensations. Um, yeah, and that goes for everyone else. You know, you can heal your own cancer if you want. We look at metaphysical guilt. You know, I cut out the internet and this detention. And going. So this makes magic level confusion. You're confusing the level here. Like there's something out there in the world in this level, and mind is here, but it's still it just overrides mind and still causes symptoms in this level. It's really an attempt to solve a problem without really solving it. You take, uh, you know, medication, do the nutrition thing, you're just going to be locked in that, that reality. If you buy the ticket to this belief, you're going to be locked into that reality of, well, I need to measure things, and I need to drink for this, and I need to da da da. And again, we can evolve. We can expand our minds to higher consciousness where we don't necessarily need to do these things. Or you can repeat it and enjoy it. I mean, you want to measure things and look at a list of things that you might need for your body, and put it into a smoothie and these things, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But you don't necessarily have to. Um, so it's a way of creating an illusion of a solution. Oh, I have a knock on the door there, guys. Just one sec. Very interesting. Anywho, here we are. Just got a letter. Funny, this is what we're talking about. Want me to stay? Okay, let's save that for later. I'll tell you guys later. Anyway, let's focus on this. Magic in the form of level confusion is a way of creating the illusion of a solution or a change without really addressing the underlying issue of separation. Magic is also an authority problem because it's your attempt to have power over consciousness, and to make the dream causal and to be able to produce real effects. To make this world, the outside world that you perceive, trying to say that this world has power over you. And it's fine if you think you do, if you want to do that. But by buying into that story, which seems so real, I know, I mean, it seems so real, right? It's fine if you want to buy into that story, but then you buy into pain, suffering, death, the pursuit of pleasure, the avoidance of pain, all these things. So belief that stuff in the world outside there can cause something creates the conflicting scenario of having the world create sickness, or appearing to, while simultaneously seeming to create the causes that can counteract that sickness as, your form of salvation. So That's why we take medications in most cases, and we seek for some solution in the outside world. A form of practices, rituals. Nutrition is there. All sorts of solutions, and the out that's now going to make me feel better again. That's fine, but what about healing yourself with your mind? You can do that. And it's free, which is why sometimes this information, yeah, I sit here sometimes and go, should I do this one? Should I share this? And there's the collapse of the medical industry as we know it. So now the dream world is given credit when we purchase this idea ticket. This dream world of the outside world is now given credit. It seems so real. As both the cause of suffering, my suffering comes from the outside world, my lack of nutrition. So now I need to get nutrition from the outside world as well. Is this outside world is both suffering and the way to be alleviated from suffering, which is typical of the ego's contradictory nature. Magic is also a form of victimhood. And in a way, you could say if you think that you lack, certain things, in a very poetic way, we are playing victim. And we say, well, I'm going to go get my fruits and veggies because if I don't, I'm going to be ill or I'm going to lack some nutrients, which might cause a disease. But really, it's the thought in the mind that creates that. So it's a form of victimhood because it means that you believe that something outside of you, some drug, even some fruit, or some vegetable, or some treatment, something that you have done to yourself has power over you to change you on your behalf in a way that you didn't seem able to make it happen directly. This is loss of power. This is giving your power away. And here we talk about being truly empowered. And often this empowerment might seem to be interpreted as rude or egotistical by the very people who do not know who they are. I've been attacked all week for all sorts of things, even by my own family for being rude. But you see, I know who I am. I'm not a rude person. I'm 100% compassionate, even to people who are war criminals and people who are working for war criminals. So, hey, that's fine if you want to judge, but that you're only seeing your own mirror, So, so it's illusion designed to cover up the power of your mind and the way that you are choosing. That you are choosing what you're experiencing. So we should also therefore remember this belief in a disorderly sequence of levels, i.e. the mind, which the cause, should come before the effect. But we believe the opposite is true. From to public schools, we were taught to believe that the opposite is true, the upside down version of this. And this itself produces sickness. This upside down way of viewing the world produces the sickness because it takes away the power. And if you give away your power, you're very easily controlled. And what we talk about here spreads into greater things that are happening in the world, into all other areas of our what seems to be our human experience. And what we talk about here is to actually heal the human condition and let go of the idea of being a human in a body, and therefore you open to greater states of expanded awareness. Um, and yeah, I mean, you still live a normal life, you know. When you do the 365-day course, I always say it's not like you're going to be some sort of weirdo that walks around the world going, "Oh my God, nothing's real," da da da. No, it's not about that. We stabilize in this grounded state um, of the 0 point energy field, and the 0 point energy, and you still get to live a normal life. However, the experience that you're having within is literally incredible. Because look, it's like if you saw a world of objects, that I would be drinking coffee. Seems like a pretty normal thing, but the experience that I am experiencing is incredible. And I extend that. I extend this incredible experience to those who would like to experience the world um, in the same way, because it's your natural inheritance. Yay! How's everyone doing? It's a bit of quiet on here. Um, so, sickness in any belief that separation is real. Sickness is any belief that the outside world is a real thing, that there's really an outside world. Whether that then turns into physical symptoms or financial symptoms or relationship symptoms or whatever. Nutrition, believing that the external is the cause or has power to affect your internal is itself sickness, because it reinforces the belief that you are separate from the cause and that you are not causal. See, when you step into your power and you remember again who you are, before you got conditioned to see the world in such an upside down way, then you are the cause. You step back into your power and you then have the power to create your fate. In a lot of spiritual circles, they think that this means the law of attraction and some way to, there's this desire to manifest outside objects, which is where this thing is, again, even spiritual can be taken for the ego, and then you go, oh, well, I think it's in my best interest to attract $1 million. That's another story for another time. I'll make a video on that, about the upside down thinking of, spiritual groups that think that they know what's best for them. Anywho, being cause is the same thing as being 0 point, or being the cause could also mean the same thing as being loving. Being loving. Most people seem like they think they're loving, but they're really dead. Effect is the same thing as being dead. I am an effect of the world. The world, the outside world affects me. That's like man walking. You really want to love. You really want to feel deeply in your heart, but yet be balanced in this rational, logical, intelligent, higher faculty, which is the mind. And be grounded in that and be in the 0 point. So I hope that, this is sort of entertained you a bit for the night. It's just all entertainment. So this is a bit of a taster of what we will be discussing more in the Beyond Human Nutrition live workshop, which is on Creating Miracle Minds page. on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. UTC plus 13 time. And I'm getting a call. Remember, guys, the only thing that's real is love, and fear is a dream.